President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is set to visit Benue State, the state that has been under constant attack in recent times, the most recent being the massacre of over 200 citizens of that state by alleged herdsmen. And the president is visiting quite uncharacteristics of him, largely because the Pope has drawn attention to the Benue tragedy. The Pope's involvement has embarrassed the president enough that he has to visit Benue State to save face. And not only the Pope, there were others whose comments was telling of the president's lack of empathy to what is happening to Benue people. And you know that Benue State is a predominantly Catholic state. Most Benue indigents are of the Catholic faith. And the killings in that state has gotten to the notice of the Pope of the Catholic Church, who on Sunday prayed for the victims of what he called the terrible massacre in Benue State, Nigeria. The Pope was responding to over 200 people that were killed in Yelwata, in the Guma local government area of Benue State, on the nights of 13th and 14th June. Most of those that were killed were internally displaced persons sheltered by local Catholic mission. Speaking before delivering his Sunday Angelus, or before delivering the Sunday Angelus prayers, the Pope prayed for security, justice, and peace in Nigeria, adding that he was thinking in particular of the rural Christian communities of the Benue State who have been relentless victims of violence, the Pope said. Also, the Amnesty International has drawn the attention of the killings in Benue State, calling on the Nigerian authorities to bring the perpetrators to book. Now, it was the Pope's involvement in the matter that actually is the reason why President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to visit Benue State. Now, it's not only the Pope, his political opponents has also been calling out President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his lack of empathy to the people of Benue State. If you look at the series of statements coming out from the main opposition leader in Nigeria right now, which is the former governor of Anambra State and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 presidential election, Peter Obi, has constantly pointed out the error in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's conduct whenever there is tragedy in Nigeria. He hardly pays a visit to those places. He hardly shows empathy. What they do was just to regurgitate press statements. It seemed that they have written press statements, keep aside, that they will just release. And they think that would be enough to assuage the feelings and the anger and the emptiness in the victims of relentless killings in Nigeria. No effort are made whatsoever for the president to visit, as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, whose responsibility is to protect lives and property of Nigerians. It is a job he cannot outsource to anyone. It is a job he has to do because he presented himself that he wanted to do this job. Nobody begged him. He said it was his turn, and that it was Yoruba turn is his turn. So he has to own up to the responsibility to do the job. But he seems to abrogate that responsibility, and he has now keep on blaming the Benue State governor that he's not doing enough. He's telling them that in the statement that they issued, telling Benue State governor and the Benue people that they should go and learn to live in peace with one another. But the issue at stake was the issue of law and order. It's not about advising the governor to call stakeholders meeting so that they will live in peace. No. It is about law and order. It's about displacement of people from their communities. It's about massacring of the innocents in the night. It is about genocide. It is about displacement of communities. That is deep. It's not a responsibility that the commander-in-chief can outsource, but he has been outsourcing that responsibility for too long. When this massacre happened on the 13th and 14th, the federal government of Nigeria wanted it to be another massacre that will be swept under the carpet. But they were shocked to hear the Pope talk about it to the international community, to the whole world. The massacre in Benue. The massacre in Benue. And the Pope was talking about peace and justice. Peace and justice. Peace and justice. That is what is needed in Benue State. Peace and justice to the victims. Because of the damaging impact of that Pope's involvement, the presidency was forced to wake up from its slumber and now announced that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to readjust his program, that he's going to readjust. The presidency itself doesn't even need to tell Nigeria that it is going to readjust its program so that it can go to Benue. It ought to drop everything and talk about that. There was even no the best thing would have been for the president to say, we are going to Benue on Wednesday to get first-hand information from the victims' families, what is going on, from the governor of Benue State, from the other stakeholders in Benue State. You don't have to tell us that you are to live up. Which others? There's no better responsibility of the president than the protection of life and property. There's no other job. The alarm that one of the things he planned to do on Wednesday was to go to Kaduna State to go and commission project. Which project is better than to address the issue of human life being wasted unnecessarily in this country? So he ought not have reminded Nigerians that he is sacrificing his shadow to go to Benue, because that statement is unnecessary. It was unnecessary to tell us that you are sacrificing to go there. You ought to say that you are going to Benue, that the whole country can be put to a halt, to go and find out the reason for this incessant killings. And in any case, as Commander-in-Chief, is the presidency telling us he's not getting security briefing on Benue? Of the security briefing he receives on a daily basis from the Office of the National Security Advisor, from the police, the military and everything. So Benue does not feature there. That they say president is going to meet with stakeholders. Is that really what the president ought to go is to go and meet with the families and reassure them that Nigeria has not forgotten them. that Nigeria will get to the root of this problem, that Nigeria will chase away, will obliterate those who are occupying their communities by force. Because it is no longer hidden that communities in Benue, in Plateau, and elsewhere are being displaced, and people alien to the ancestral community, alien to the ancestral land, have taken over those communities. How can that happen in a nation of law and order in 21st century? That is what he ought to, what it should be about. He's not going there to consulting, look at, what are you consulting for? It was to reassure them that from today, no piece of land in Benue State or anywhere in Nigeria will be allowed to be taken over by any herdsman or any foreign herdsman, whether or local herdsman, allegedly occupying communities. That it will not happen under his watch. That is what is expected of him. And initially, when he issued a statement, he was talking about the Benue State governor urging them to learn to live with one another in peace. No. The people who are killing these people, they don't want to live in peace with anybody. They want to take over. They want to take over the agricultural land of Benue people. That's what they want to do. That's a land grab. It cannot be allowed in a democratic nation like Nigeria. Cannot be allowed in any sense society, for that matter. Because the whole thing has deteriorated to the level that, if you remember, I did a video on it not long ago. The bishop of Makurdi Diocese, Bishop Wilfred Anabe, he was recently in United States. He spoke at the United States Congress about the failure of Nigerian government to protect lives and property in Benue State. In fact, in his address to a committee of the American Congress, Bishop Wilfred Anabe called on the American government to reinstate Nigeria as a country of concern, as a country that allowed terrorists to be terrorizing its people, as a country that condones terrorism, because the government has failed to deal with terrorism. That was what the presentation of Bishop Wilfred Anabe, the Bishop of Makurdi Diocese of Benue State, because he was claiming that the Nigerian government has the capacity to stop the herdsmen that are killing Benue people and taking over their lands, while the government is more interested in building another set of settlement for them, which even the government doesn't have the resources to be able to do. And he was insisting that they should put pressure on the Nigerian government to restore law and order in Benue State, so that communities can go back to their communities. Displaced communities can return to their communities, return to their ancestral lands. That should be the main agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he goes to Benue, is to ensure and reassure that whatever he needs to take, that security will be provided, and that communities will return back to their communities, go back to their farmlands, go back to their communities, go back to where their ancestors were buried, which is their ancestral land. And never again will any Nigerian community be driven away by marauding herdsmen under the guise of whatever it is. That it will not happen. That is what the president is expected to do, and not for the statement that was issued that he's going there, he will meet with stakeholders. What are you meeting with stakeholders? You are receiving security briefing all the time. It is just to go and empathize with them, reassure them, and set up machinery to ensure that never again will any herdsman terrorize Benue people. And you will also insist that Nigeria is a country of law and order. Benue has law, anti-open grazing law. It must be enforced. The reason there is all this breakdown of law and order is the failure of the federal government of Nigeria that control the police and all the other security apparatus to enforce the law that had already been made in Benue State. The Hizbah in Kano is enforcing the laws that was made by the Kano State House of Assembly. The anti-open grazing law that was made by the Benue Parliament, why can't it be enforced by the Nigerian police and the other security agencies? Why can't it be enforced? That is the failure of governance. That is failure of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now that he has been forced to come out of his comfort zone to go and visit Benue, let it be an opportunity to ensure that never again will any herdsman or herdsmen be allowed to take any inch of any piece of land in Benue under any guise. And you hear the president talking about diversity, that they should, that they should manage their diversity. What is the diversity in Benue? You see, what is the diversity in Benue? The people that are killing Benue people are not from Benue. They are not indigenous of Benue State. Even the governor himself is talking about foreign headers. He said the people that are coming, many of the headers, they don't even come with any cattle. They are just AK-47 welding bandits and all kinds of people, saying they are coming from outside Nigeria, and Nigeria is a sovereign country, and that kind of thing is happening, and we are not doing much about it or anything about it. That's uncalled for. That's what is expected of the president, to go there and say enough is enough. And not just saying it, put machinery in place. If it means setting up barracks, whatever you need to do, let it be done to keep Benue and any part of Nigeria for that matter safe. We have to thank the Pope. The Benue people need to thank the Pope for bringing up their matter. Because when the Pope brought it up, I think the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu was thoroughly embarrassed that they need to do something about it. And then thanks to the opposition leaders like Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, who keep on hammering the government on its lack of empathy, the failure of Tinubu to visit all these places, to go and empathize and sympathize with them. But at least the Pope and all these opposition leaders has forced Bola Ahmed Tinubu to remember Benue people. I don't know what to think about this. What is your position about the fact that it has to take the Pope for Tinubu to think about visiting Benue, despite all the cry for help from that part of the country? Whatever is your position, let's hear from you at the comment section. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.